Good morning and welcome to the African Heritage Diaspora Television, still the ultimate voice for African in the diaspora. My name remains Prince Tunde Adetunji. The Centennial Olympics game in Atlanta 1996 marks the turning point for the city of Atlanta, redeeming its glory as the alluring city of the South and the nerve center of business and tourism potential to the country of the United States of America. Of course, kudos should be given to the Ozagevos. I mean, the initiators and also the pioneers, the dreamers, the Martin Luther King, Joe Lowry, John Lewis, Andrew Young, Ted Turner, Bonnie Marcos, and Charlie Franklin, and of course the new breed that has taken over the mantle of leadership of the city of Atlanta, talking about Mayor Kasim Reed, Cesar Michel, and of course my friend Tommy Dodge. They are ensuring that Atlanta is right on your mind. In the growth of any economy, tourism stands tall, and tourism is the answer. And that is why the ACVB has the ace and the command of this territory. Now with me today to discuss this issue is the #1 citizen in the area of tourism for the city of Atlanta, William Pate. Is a name to reckon with. He is my guest on the African television. You are welcome, William.
Thank you. It's so great to be here with you today.
That's great. Now, you've done an excellent job, and looking at the resume, we saw a lot of progress has been made over the years. You have about 1,200 organizations that the ACVB work with, including the African Heritage Foundation. And you've recorded about 11.4 billion as a kind of revenue for the city of Atlanta. Now, looking at this scenario, one could easily assess there is a huge success here. But to be #1 is something, and to remain #1 is another. What does it make to be #1, and how can you defend this success over the years?
Well, I think the first thing is that even when you're at the top, you never stop working,
right,
and you never stop focusing on the business, and that's certainly what we're doing. We had a fabulous business in 2010, and the first thing we talked about is how we're going to make it better in 2011, 2012, 2013. One of the great things about Atlanta is it's a city that never rests on its laurels.
Good.
As soon as the Olympics were over, the first thing we did was talk about what we could do next, and that's always been the spirit. And I think that's one of the reasons that we stay on top.
Well, thank you very much. Staying on top is a good story. Now, we look at tourism, and we said it's one of the most profitable business that brings back the glory and also the what we call the success of any business or any city and any country. If you look at the definition of tourism, we have quite a lot that is listed. And if you don't mind, if I want to actually tell my viewers, we're talking about the agri-tourism, culinary tourism, cultural tourism, eco-tourism, extreme tourism, even they say dump tourism, dark tourism, sport tourism, recession tourism, and leisure tourism. When you look at that category and you see arrays of tourism, which one is actually particular to the city of Atlanta that have taken you to the top?
Well, it really gets down to just a simple fact, which is you want to have more people in town tomorrow than we have in town today.
Okay.
And we do that in a lot of different ways. We do that by building our international visitation. Sometimes we do that by bringing in business from the Southeast region, because it's very easy to drive down here. Mm-hmm. We look at a lot of different industry segments. We try and focus on those segments that are in a growth mode, because that way we not only get the meeting, but then when the meeting comes to Atlanta, we get the attendees as well. And that's how you really, all those sort of factor into the growth of the business.
Okay. Now, William P., thank you very much. You have worked and you have created a record with Bell South before you came into the ACVB, and also you were with the MCI. You are with also the chairman of the Atlanta Sports Commission or something with the Chick-fil-A, and everything has been resuming very well. In your career as a journalist and looking at how to profile a city like Atlanta, how will you describe this city from the inception up to now?
Well, I think one of the great things about Atlanta is the richness of our heritage, and it touches a lot of different people and a lot of different groups. And, you know, from the diversity of the population to the diversity of the businesses that we get into. We have a wonderful sports portfolio. Obviously, we have a great corporate portfolio. We're number 4 in the nation in terms of Fortune 500 companies that are here. We have, we have a wonderful logistics business that's going to continue to grow as the Panama Canal expands. And so you sort of look at all of the components that make up the richness of the mosaic, and that's what really, makes Atlanta.
Okay. Now, the growth of any economy is predicated on the proper interplay between the human creative abilities and natural resources. And looking at the growth, they say change remains the only constant in life. Growth is a recession. If we look at the statistics from the Encyclopedia of the World Tourism, they say the World Tourism Organization forecasts that international tourists will continue growing at the average annual rate of 4%. With the advent of commerce, tourism products have become one of the most traded items on the internet. Tourism products and services have been made available through intermediaries, although tourism providers can sell their services directly. This has put pressure on intermediaries from both online and traditional shops. It has been suggested there is a strong correlation between tourism expenditure per capita and the degree to which countries play in the global context, not only as a result of the important economic contribution of the tourism industry, but also as an indicator of the degree of confidence with which global citizens leverage the resources of the globe for the benefit of their local economics. This is why projections of growth in tourism may serve as an indication of the relative influence that each country will exercise in the future. Now, looking at this statement from the World Tourism Body, what do you make out of this?
Well, I think the first thing that's important to know is there's a reason why tourism is the leading driver in most countries' economies. Citizens want to travel, they want to see the world, and there are so many things to see in the world, and as you bring people to your country and you welcome them to your country, they not only stay and they experience your culture, but they also spend money, and they will buy things, they'll eat in restaurants, they'll go to attractions. That revenue leads to employment and helps sustain and grow economies. And it's no different here in the United States. We expect to see significant international growth from a variety of reasons. One is we've just recently passed legislation that's going to allow the United States to spend $200 million a year promoting U.S. destinations overseas, to get people overseas to come here. And that's going to have significant impact on Atlanta because of our international airport. We're going to have more visitors coming in. In 2012, we'll open up our new terminal. And we're going to be able to continue to welcome the world in a very big way. And that'll all be incremental business that we don't have today. And people who will experience the United States and experience Atlanta, and hopefully they'll come back again and again.
Yeah, you touched my positive spot when you make mention of that. You're looking at Middle East. We talk about religious tourism, which has turned Israel and Mecca into an annual adage that people goes every year. Now, building tourism and taking it to uphold the ace for the country of the United States, turning the recession into prosperity. Do you foresee any positive vibes in the next century?
Oh, I think absolutely. I mean, we've already seen tourism, begin to lead us out of the current recession. And again, one of the things that's constant is that people who have means and have money want to travel. And as soon as economies begin to recover, they get back out on the road and travel. And as they do, that then generates additional revenues and helps slower economies begin to catch up. And one of the reasons why you see, particularly in emerging markets, such a focus on tourism is it doesn't require a lot of manufacturing, a lot of building of plants or anything. It's the kind of thing that you can turn on very quickly, and it generates money very quickly, generates jobs very quickly. So it really is, as I say a lot, the gasoline that sort of runs the economic engines across the world.
Well, William, you see, this country is a great country, and it all embraces cultural diversity. I'm talking about the building up of the image of this country and also the success. This is a country of immigrants that people come from left and right to make sure that this country is great. And everybody has a dream. The Martin Luther King of the blessed memory had a dream. I have a dream that one day Atlanta will be the Mecca and also the gateway of Africa potentials to United States. I have a dream that one day something will propel more the tourism, I think bringing the African village to the city of Atlanta with the 54 nations here. So before you go to Africa, you have to come to Atlanta. I have a dream also that one day all the flights from here, from Atlanta to all the continent of Africa is now good night Atlanta and good morning Africa. Now looking at all this, what will be ACB, what will be ACVB do to work together and bring this one to reality in terms of African nations are looking forward to bridge the gap and build the bridge in the area of economy, in the area of tourism, in the area of education? What do you think the ACVB can do to enhance this dream come true?
Well, first I would say, that dream is our dream as well.
Yes.
We want everybody to come to our city. We think we have a wonderfully welcoming city, a fabulous international city. And, we want all the nations of the world to come here. And so what we do is we spend a lot of time talking, and I think as we go through particularly this promotional outreach that will be funded starting next year, it'll be a great opportunity first to just educate the countries of Africa of all the fabulous things there are here to do in Atlanta. And then as you get more people who want to come here, that will create the need to have more flights to African countries. And so one always builds on the other, and then as you have more people from Africa come here, there are going to be some who are going to want to stay here. And they're going to call back to their families, and then they're going to come. And that's, the wonderful thing about tourism. That's how it sparks growth and development, and the pie sort of just gets bigger and bigger and bigger as more people come. And it's our job to, continue to perpetuate and grow that, as much as we can.
Now, with that statement you made, what will you endorse this statement to be? Africa Matters, providing the antidote to the development and also the emerging market and making Atlanta the gateway. What is your comment about that?
Well, I think this is a great example of exactly where Atlanta does well. We need people to come to our city because we have a wonderful city to show off. And you can see it in pictures and you can have people tell you about it. But you really don't understand and feel the magic until you get here.
Yes.
And once you get here, then you're going to see what Atlanta has to offer, and you're going to go back to your country and you're going to tell your friends. And that's not only going to spur tourism, it's going to spur business development, international outreach, all the things that really we're all looking for.
Okay. Now, if we flash back to the Centennial Olympics in 1996, which makes the turning point for the city of Atlanta, the growth has really got to the level that everything is growing. The airport is the busiest airport now. We have the aquarium now, just commanding the interest of the tourism. CNN is doing its work there. The World of Coke is also creating news every day and everything. The city is really bubbling. What do you emphasize to come again as another spectacle to sustain the standard of?
Well, as I said, that's one of the great things about Atlanta. We never rest on our laurels. We're always looking for new things. And
Okay.
probably one of the more exciting things we've got coming up is going to be the Center for Civil and Human Rights, which will also be down at the park, which is really going to be a worldwide attraction and a place of gathering for discussion around not only civil rights but human rights around the world. It'll be another international destination right there with CNN, right there with the Georgia Aquarium. We're also going to be adding, which is more of interest probably to people here in the United States, but College Football Hall of Fame, which will be another national attraction focused on colleges and universities and the sport of football. So we've always got something new coming down the pike. We've always got something that we're working on to improve our destination.
Okay. You are in the driver's seat of the ACVB. Let's go into the curriculum of the activities of ACVB. Now, you wake up in the morning, you come to the office, have thousands of 1,200 companies you work together, and you have this energetic and enthusiastic staff that goes out. Tell us, for the viewers over there, what do they learn about the ACVB, services, activities from ABCD?
Okay, well, as I said, our job is to make sure that we have more people come here tomorrow than are here today. And we do everything we can to facilitate that, from helping people who want to have meetings in town, find locations, find transportation, work on the amenities, special events that they want to have, activities after their meeting that they want to have. We work with them on making sure we can get their attendees here. So we help them with transportation, both airline transportation as well as transportation when they're here in town. It's really a sort of beginning to end. We provide people. We have a convention planner that we'll provide, which tells you everything there is to know about what to do in Atlanta. You can go to our website, which is atlanta.net. You can get all that information online. And it really will sort of walk you through the city, orient you to the city, orient you to the services that we provide. And then, I just end with the people. The one thing you'll find about the people in Atlanta is we want people to come. We're a very welcoming city, and when you come, we want to make sure that you have a wonderful experience. As I always tell people, I grew up here. So when you're coming to Atlanta, you're not just coming to a city, you're coming to my home, and you get treated as though you're in my home. Because we want you to come back again and again.
Okay, in the age of tourism, they say hospitality is the key, and Atlanta has proven decisive. Now, I want to talk about the weather. Last month in January, I think Atlanta witnessed the harsh weather, especially the snow, that actually paralyzed the business. Everybody is actually affected. In your own suggestion, for future reason, because I know a lot of people lose millions and billions of dollars, especially the city and everything. What is your solution? What is your suggestion?
Well, I think it's very hard to control weather. But one of the great things again about Atlanta is when we get harsh winter weather, it tends not to last very long.
Right.
I mean, it's 82 degrees outside today, and in most parts of the country, they're still having snow. So one of the great things about Atlanta is we do tend to have very good weather. Occasionally we do have an unforeseen snowstorm or ice storm, but again, those tend to melt away within 2 or 3 days, and because Atlanta is a city that's typically fairly warm. And so when we get bad weather, the city comes together very quickly. We make sure we take care of our attendees, get them to the places that they need to be. Of course, we have one of the values of having the world's busiest airport is even in some cases where you have flight cancellations, in Atlanta you're more likely to get a flight out more quickly than anywhere else in the country because we have 155 nonstops to destinations all over the U.S. and we have 95 nonstops to 57 countries around the world. So accessibility is one of the things that really makes Atlanta an ideal place to have meetings and to travel.
Okay. Well, Atlanta is now the capital of Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
It used to be Savannah in the past. And the derivation is to make Savannah the big port, the biggest port right now. Now, selling Atlanta to the world is also selling the state of Georgia. Beside the city of Atlanta, which other city do you think you have to profile? And then going beyond Atlanta, you come to Atlanta City, you can still go beyond and enjoy. Tell us more about the city.
Well, we want people to go all through the state of Georgia because the state of Georgia has a wonderful richness as well. And 60% of the people who visit Atlanta as tourists go on to other cities in the state of Georgia. And that can be Columbus, Macon, Valdosta, Savannah, as you mentioned. The northern part of the state's very rich in terms of mountainous terrain and fabulous streams and nature. And so really anywhere you're going to go in Georgia, you're going to have a wonderful experience. And the one thing you're going to find, as you find in Atlanta, is that people are going to be welcoming and they're going to make sure you have a wonderful time.
Williams, you are born in Decatur, and you are one of the foremost Atlantans, as we could say, and you are proud to be an Atlantan. How do you trace your history? What has it been, your experience from youth?
Well, Atlanta's obviously been a fabulous city for me to grow up in. It provided opportunities that were far beyond my imagination in terms of a work environment. Gave me the opportunity to go to college, which I was the first person in my family who was able to go to college. And it also gave me because of the diversity of the population, it gave me a rich understanding of humanity, far beyond having to travel, although I have traveled all over the world. Being in Atlanta gave me a great foundation from which to make those travels.
Okay. The process of selling the city is a massive undertaking. And I think that every honors rely on you. Everybody wants to say, yeah, the convention is going on. Who is the man there to speak to? It's William Pitt. And also there are music festivals, there are events here and there and everything. What comes to your mind when you wake up in the morning and you come to ACVB? What is your objective?
Well, one of the great things I know when we start is that we have great people who work here at the ACVB. And I know that by and large, everybody's going to be well taken care of. And however, if there is a problem, I want it to come to me because I want to know about it. I want to make sure we solve it very quickly. And and then I'm constantly thinking about the experience that people have when they're here. We want to make sure that they have a wonderful experience and have a great time. And continuing to look for ways to bring more people to the city who's not coming that would really benefit from having the experience of coming to our city, and we will make sure we focus on them and get them here.
Okay. Well, when we talk about tourism, people talk about entertainment, leisure, and everything. Let's talk about business of the city of Atlanta. With the recession going on now, and we have the opportunity of some companies relocating to the city of Atlanta. When you go to the statistics of the member of the Chamber of Commerce, the Georgia Chamber of Commerce, Metro Atlanta Chamber of Commerce, Gwinnett Chamber, they are witnessing the upsurge of companies coming. What is the magic that makes this happen?
Well, again, I think Atlanta is a wonderful place to relocate a business. We have obviously wonderful weather. We have great facilities for companies who are going to have international reach. We have wonderful capabilities to reach internationally. And again, it's about the people because you're going to find an employee base from which to hire that's going to be, they're going to be fantastic employees. And as those employees from out of state come with the company, they're going to live in neighborhoods all around the metropolitan area that have wonderful neighbors and wonderful people who are going to welcome them, make them feel at home, make sure they get very comfortable in the city. We have wonderful school systems. Again, you've got more Fortune 500 company headquarters here than any other city except for 2 or 3 others. And so even as your business grows and you're looking to do business with larger companies, Atlanta's got the companies there for you to work with.
Okay. Now, when people come into the city of Atlanta for tourism, the temptation is when you have a good opportunity, you tasted the city hospitality, you want to stay here in the city of Atlanta. That brings the increase in population. Now we're having problems. Do you think we are foreseeing the overpopulation for the city of Atlanta soon?
Oh, no, I think we'll continue to see the population grow because it's such a great place to live, and people who come here don't want to leave. So we don't have very many people moving out of the city, and we have a lot of people who want to get here. And but that's okay because again, those are people who come in, they create businesses, they create jobs, they contribute to our economy. And, there's still plenty of space around here to welcome more people to our city.
Well, Williams as a master in this terrain of industry, the Arizona law is one law that actually propel a kind of sensitivity to the citizens of the United States, especially here in Atlanta. If, for instance, the Arizona law is enacted here in Georgia, what is your advice on the turning point?
Well, I don't think you'll see anything in Atlanta that'll look like the situation in Arizona.
Yes.
Again, Atlanta is everybody makes their own decisions, but Atlanta's always been a city. I mean, it's the cradle of the civil rights movement. It's always been a city that has been very welcoming and on the forefront. And our goal is to always be America's most hospitable and welcoming city.
Great. Viewers, you heard it from the horse's mouth. Atlanta is the place to be. And Atlanta is where you can now display and exercise your talent, your creativity, and bring all the possibilities that you have to make the city great. We are in the process of making Atlanta the epicenter and the mecca, as well as the gateway of business initiative from the diaspora, from African nations, from Asia, from everywhere, right to the country of the United States. Well, as much as we give you the best from this particular program every day, it needs to be sustained. Everything good has a cost. This program needs to be sponsored, and we want to bring to you education, information, and orientation of what you need most in order to make your life easy, and also now discover and take the opportunity and advantage of good things here in the city of Atlanta. The best is yet to come, they say, and Africa Television is the in thing for you to watch all the time. Until I see you next week, and I bring you another great episode. The ACVB is doing great in the city of Atlanta. You are welcome. We are glad Georgia is right on your mind.
Absolutely. Good to be with you today.